When you hear political science, it might sound complicated, but break it down. Politics is just the way we make decisions as a group, and science is a way of studying things. So political science is the study of how we organize ourselves, who gets power, and why. The most basic way to do this is by looking at a country's form of government, its operating system. Why do we even need all these labels? Political scientists classify governments for the same reason a biologist classifies animals. You can't understand a zoo if you just say it's full of animals. You need to know the difference between a mammal and a reptile. In the same way, we can't understand the world if we just say it's full of countries. We need to know how they're different. We do this by asking 3 questions. Who rules? Where is the power? And how much power is there? The first person to really do this scientifically was the Greek philosopher Aristotle, over 2,000 years ago. He was like the original political doctor. He looked at all the governments he could find and tried to figure out which ones were healthy and which ones were sick. His diagnosis depended on 2 things: how many people were in charge, one, a few, or a lot, and most importantly, why they were ruling, for the good of everyone or just for themselves. First, let's look at rule by one. Aristotle said the good version is a monarchy. This is a king or queen who is wise and virtuous, and their main goal is to make life better for all their subjects. Think of a perfect storybook king. The corrupt version is a tyranny or dictatorship. This is also one person ruling, but they are selfish. They use their power to get rich, crush their enemies, and stay in charge, no matter what it costs the country. Next, Aristotle looked at rule by few. The good version, he said, is an aristocracy. The word aristo means best. This is a system where a small group of the smartest, most educated, and most virtuous citizens make the decisions. It's like your class letting the 5 students with the best grades design the school project. The corrupt version is an oligarchy. This is also ruled by a few, but it's the wealthiest few. Their goal isn't the common good. It's to pass laws that make them and their rich friends even richer. Finally, rule by many. The good version, Aristotle called a polity. This is where all the citizens participate, but they are balanced by a set of laws and a constitution. They can't just do whatever they want. They have to follow the rules. This is what we would now call a constitutional republic. The corrupt version, he called democracy. This one is a shocker, right? To Aristotle, democracy was a bad word. He and later many of America's founders pictured a direct democracy as an angry mob. They were afraid that if 51% of the people voted to do something selfish, like cancel all debts or take property from the other 49%, there would be nothing to stop them. That's mob rule. This is why the U.S. Constitution created a republic, a system where we elect representatives who are supposed to be calmer and make decisions based on the law, not just popular emotion. Now let's jump to the modern day. Political scientists still use Aristotle's ideas, but they've added new ways to classify governments. The first modern question is, where is the power geographically? Is it all in one place, or is it spread out? This gives us 3 models: unitary, federal, and confederal. A unitary system is the most common. Think of it like a school principal who has all the power. The principal, the central government, can create new classes or hire new teachers, regional governments. But the principal can also fire those teachers or cancel those classes. The power all flows from the top down. The government in London, for example, makes the big decisions for the whole United Kingdom. A federal system is what we have in the United States. In this model, power is shared. Think of it like the national government is the school superintendent, and the state governments are the principals. The superintendent sets some rules for everyone, like graduation requirements. But each principal, the state, has the power to set rules for their own school, like the bell schedule or mascots. The Constitution is the rule book that says who gets to decide what. A confederal system is the opposite of a unitary one. Here, the states, the regional governments, have all the power. They just create a very weak, very small central organization to coordinate. This is what the U.S. was under our first Constitution, the Articles of Confederation, and it failed. The states acted like 13 separate countries, and the central government was too weak to do anything. The second modern question is about the inside of the government. How do the lawmakers and the law enforcers work together? This is the relationship between the legislative and executive branches. This gives us two main types, presidential and parliamentary. In a presidential system, like in the US, there is a separation of powers. Think of it like a class election. You vote for your class president, the executive, and you vote for your student council, the legislative, in two separate elections. The president is not part of the council, and they often disagree. This creates checks and balances. In a parliamentary system, there is a fusion of powers. Imagine you only vote for the student council, parliament. Then, the members of that new council get together and pick one of their own to be the leader, the prime minister. The leader is part of the council. This means they can usually get laws passed much more quickly because the executive and legislative are on the same team. The third and final modern classification is the power meter. This is the one that matters most to your personal freedom. It asks, how much power does the government have over its citizens? Is that power limited by a constitution, or is it unlimited? On one side, you have democratic regimes. The key idea here is the rule of law. This means the law is king, and everyone has to follow it, even the president. These systems are defined by free and fair elections, where you can peacefully vote to fire the government. They also have a Bill of Rights to protect your freedom of speech, press, and religion. On the other side, you have authoritarian regimes. In this system, the ruler is king. The ruler is above the law. These are your dictatorships and absolute monarchies. There are no free elections. Leaders take power by force or are born into it. If you criticize the government, you can be jailed. You have no rights, only the privileges the ruler decides to give you. Totalitarianism is the most extreme, darkest version of authoritarianism. Authoritarian means you must obey me. Totalitarian means you must obey me, love me, and think what I tell you to think. A totalitarian government wants total control. It controls the news, the schools, the art, and even your private life. It's a 24/7 system of propaganda and fear. So, as you can see, no country is just one thing. Political scientists use these labels like building blocks to get a full picture. The United States is a great example. It's a constitutional republic. Aristotle's polity, it's a federal system, power is shared with states. It's a presidential system, we elect a separate president. And it's a democratic regime, our rights are protected. These aren't just words for a test. The form of government a country has determines everything about how people live. It determines if you have a voice or if you must be silent. It determines if you are free to choose your own path or if your path is chosen for you. In our system, the government is supposed to work for we the people. Understanding how it's built is the first step to making sure it does.